They only lost contact with it during the entry. In other words, as it's going through the atmosphere and coming in for a landing, they knew they wouldn't have any contact during that time. But the reason that part of that made the news so big is because that's when everybody was like, is it going to land successfully or not, right? Because it would be a huge waste and loss of money if it just burned up coming through the atmosphere and didn't land a rover. But in the end, yeah, they were successful. We successfully landed a rover on Mars. It is now traveling the Martian surface. Why do we explore Mars with robots? Well, not the with robots part. First, let's do why do we explore Mars?
To see if there's life.
See if there's Martians.
See if there's life.
Yeah, that's the point. To see if there is or ever was life on Mars.
And to see if Mars can retain life, even though there might not be life on Mars.
Right. So, the big, it would be the hugest news probably in the scientific world since the discovery of atoms, or DNA, right? If we actually found evidence of the existence of life outside of Earth's atmosphere, because at this point we have no evidence whatsoever to suggest that life exists outside of Earth's atmosphere. So, it's a really, really big deal if Curiosity can find evidence of organic life or actual life, which is not likely, okay? But they were looking for, has there ever been water on Mars? Has there ever been any of the kind of things that we know go into making up life? And so these are literally a big part of what Curiosity is on the surface of Mars trying to do.
Didn't they already find out that there was water on Mars at one point?
It wasn't Mars, it was...
It used to be there, but they don't know if that was actually true. That's why they sent them,
Right. The famous Mars trenches. There are what looks like from here anyway, trenches all over Mars, and scientists have often wondered, astronomers and scientists have wondered, what does that mean that they're used? Basically, is this the effects of erosion, water erosion that they're seeing that created these trenches, just like our Grand Canyon, right? Or did this come about from something else, right? But if water had been there, then there's a good reason to believe there may have been life, right? Or at least microscopic life. Even if they found the tiniest bacteria used to live on Mars, that's a big deal, right? So, the theme or the sort of scenario of this game is that we are building a robot to land on the surface of Mars, actually 2 robots, to land on the surface of Mars. Curiosity has already cached, which means gathered together and hidden, right? Deposits of samples that Curiosity has identified as important, right? These samples consist of 2 kinds of samples. Organic samples, which are evidence of life, right, the green ones, or inorganic samples, which means maybe it's a certain kind of rock or mineral that we might find important.
Or orange.
Right? Yeah, and that's the orange Botballs. Right? So those are placed around on the board. Right? So it's our mission to build robots that will find those and that will retrieve the samples and then bring them back to the launch area where booster rockets are being assembled by another robot so that those booster rockets can take those samples back to Earth so we can study them. Right? So that's what MSR stands for, because you're going to see that on the t-shirt designs. Hey, thanks. That closet right there is me. So that is what we are doing. We are designing and building and programming robots that are going to look for these samples, gather them together, bring them back to the launch area. Now, within that mission that we have, there are lots of different ways to gain points, right? If your robot can do this, if your robot can do that, right, you can gain points. Is it locked? Like when we pull it shut, will it lock itself? Cool, thank you. So, here's the thing, and here's the big challenge, you guys. We got to design 2 robots and program 2 robots to do any of a number of certain things to gain points. Alright? What's the conversation we're having here, Smith? If it's that important, go ahead and say it. You sure? Alright. So, the whole point is there are lots of different things you can have the robots do. They're worth different amounts of points, right? Just gathering the samples will get you some points. Just returning the samples to the launch area will get you some points. If you can get the samples into the launch area and then into a little square of PVC pipe, that's bonus points.
You talk about the organic, right?
Not just the organic, but also inorganic. But if you can get your robot to pick out just the organic ones and put those into the transport, super bonus points.
If you get the mascot itself and put it into the launch area, right?
Yes,
And
that's also
major points.
bonus point. Now we're going to look at exactly how much each different activity is going to be worth. All right? And you need to make decisions about what you're going to program your robots to do, because your robots are only going to have 2 minutes. 2 minutes to accomplish their tasks.
120 seconds.
That's right. 120 seconds. All right? Or 120,000 milliseconds.
But we're going to go for the easiest and fastest points first. The harder things tend to take longer, and we only have 2 minutes.
That's right. And
Well,
so
if
for
you
your
have two
first...
robots, you can do two things at the same time.
That's right. Both of those are correct. Now you have to decide, do you want to build 2 robots that just goes after the samples? Do you want to build 2 robots that just build boosters? Do you want to build 1 robot that goes after one, and 1 robot that goes after the other? Right? There are lots of different ways that you can decide to do this, but we have to come to decisions very soon. Right? So the next thing that we're going to do, there's that big green calendar in there. Will somebody go in there and get it and bring it out to us? Thank you. No?
Personal enjoyment.
I'm gonna wash my eyes.
Bro, you know how when you orange sour?
Yeah.
Mine was sweet.
It's a little bit